All right, Scorpio, thanks for tuning in to your yearly 2015 horoscope. My name is Athen. Okay, so I'm going to start very general, looking at the eclipses for the year. It's part of the lunar cycle, and the lunar cycle always does a really good job of showing us the overall theme, the overall energy for the year. Then I'm going to get into the specifics in terms of the transiting planets and the aspects they're going to be forming with each other during the year. Okay, so starting off with the eclipses from last year in 2014 in October, we had the eclipses in Libra. So for you guys, you know, this was in your 12th house, and this had to do with spirituality and you know, going with the flow and having presence, I think, in your overall experience, or perhaps doing something behind the scenes or with the psyche, something of that nature. So whatever those new projects were, a new project, or whatever that whole new perspective you have on life since that October catalytic time period with those eclipses, continue to focus on that direction. Focus on life in terms of peace, presence, flow, and those sorts of things through the next set of eclipses in the spring time period. Okay, the next set of eclipses are in March and April, and then things are going to change a little bit. During that time, we're going to have the eclipses in Pisces, which is your guys' 5th house, and that has to do with your enjoyment for life. Okay, very nice to have eclipses in that 5th house. So use the time for the first few months to continue that spiritual, you know, that spiritual stuff, whatever spiritual perspective, presence, peace, just wanting that harmony in your life. And then on the during the eclipses in that 5th house, something new there, okay? And perhaps it's a new creative project. Perhaps it's for some of you, a new child. You know, someone, you know, a child being born. 5th house rules children. Creative projects, anything that involves your sense of enjoyment for life and your creativity as well. Could be entrepreneurship as well, which is a sort of creative project, which is a new business or something of that nature also, 5th house. So whatever that is, it's going to be available for you to focus on and develop throughout the year, from the springtime to the fall time. Or perhaps it's just an overall perspective on wanting some more joy and happiness in your life, and to let that inner child out to play. So whatever that is, focus on that for the mid part of the year, and you'll find things nice and flowing, nice and smooth. Then when that fall time period comes around, we have another set of eclipses, which is going to adjust your path into a new direction. And it's going to culminate in regards to something, I think, humanitarian or service related. I think a lot of you are going to actually find that all of this enjoyment or this creative thing, whatever it was mid-year, is going to create a lot of freedom in your life, okay? Or a sense of freedom, you know, which is really, freedom is inside and we always have it, but it's going to really, I think, enliven that. Or perhaps help you want to be more of service to others. You know, that's another 11th house way of looking at it. But then whatever that culmination is, it's setting you off into a new beginning, and that new beginning is related to your work or your career. We have this solar eclipse in September taking place in that 10th house, okay? The 10th house is your work, your career, anything you do for the public image, okay? Accolades, achievements, all these sorts of things. So for some of you, it might be a brand new perspective on that. It can mean a new career. It can mean a new beginning in your existing career in some way, promotion or something like that, that allows you to take on more responsibility or just unlock some new energy there. So whatever that is, that's going to be then hopefully the focus for you from that fall time period into 2016. So focus on that tail end. So it looks like the first few months, focus on the spiritual side of things. Mid-month, focus on the creative, fun side of things. Then from the fall to the 2016 period of that springtime period, focus on the work and the achievements and the accolades, those types of things, whatever that is. You'll notice when you do it in that way, things are nice and flowing, things are nice and smooth, but I think naturally your guys' intentions are going to want to be in those specific directions. Okay, so now let's look at the slow-moving planets, where they're going to be and the aspects they're going to be having with each other this year. Starting with Jupiter, we've had Jupiter transiting your guys' ninth house since mid-2014, most of 2014 actually. It's been a very slow transit of Jupiter. And he's going to continue to be there until July of 2015. So the first half of this year, continue focusing on increasing that channel you have to the divine. The ninth house is about your divine channel. It's about anything that expands both your physical surroundings and your mind as well. So it can be spiritual. The ninth house is spiritual in terms of like divine messages, channeling, our connection to source, our connection to God, those types of things. But it's also expanding your mind in terms of philosophy or spiritual studies, those types of things. Lots of opportunities there. Also opportunities perhaps to do some traveling or some overseas matters, long distance matters. Whatever that is, continue to see those opportunities for the first half of the year, and do something about it. Because the thing with Jupiter is sometimes those opportunities are there, but we don't make anything of it. You want to actually make something of it, make it into a reality, because it can seem easy, the opportunities, but they're there. And so the best way to utilize it is to do something with it and make it into a reality. Walk through the door, in other words. The doors are opening in those areas, but you got to walk through the doors. So that is very exciting stuff. And then in July, he's going to go over your midheaven, okay, into your 10th house for the remainder of the year and into 2016. So then the shift is focused on your guys' work. And that's where this eclipse stuff is taking place too. So there's definitely a shift going on mid-year regarding your guys' work, public sector stuff, career. And so there's opportunities there that are going to start to unfold from the summertime onward. So pay attention to those and make sure you do something with those as well. Now, the grounding element to all this, in terms of making these possibilities a reality, is seen by Saturn. Saturn being the polar element to Jupiter. Saturn's just recently went into your guys' first house, into Scorpio. So you guys have this sort of discipline and pragmatic approach to life that you guys are now really stepping into. Saturn's beginning a brand new cycle in your chart. And what this means is that you guys are perhaps taking on more responsibility, or wanting to take on more responsibility, and starting to actually make a lot of your goals and ambitions a long-term reality, you know. And so using that energy in that way, stepping into that Saturnine energy, especially for you guys with Saturn in that first house, is really going to benefit you this year. See how you can make your desires a long-term, pragmatic, step-by-step reality. Put in the work, put in the discipline, the pragmatism, all of this. Take on the healthy amount of responsibility that you want to handle. And through that, you'll notice that you guys are going to be achieving quite a bit in the next, at least the next couple of years when you do that. And particularly, I have a feeling in terms of your 10th house, work, career, etc. If you turn those opportunities into a solidified, material thing in some way, that can really increase the abundance and also the support and everything that you guys are receiving from that 10th house. Okay, so that's Saturn and Jupiter. Now let's go ahead and talk about Uranus. Uranus is a very slow mover, and he's been in your guys' 5th house for a long time. It's going to continue to be there. And this has to do with finding freedom in your enjoyment for life. So this is where you guys are releasing, perhaps with the South Node there, South Node's also there, perhaps releasing some attachments to your creative projects or your enjoyment in some way, some old notions that are just no longer serving you. The important thing here is that you have fun, you enjoy life, you do creative things, okay? You have, a lot of passion that's coming forth, really listening to your heart and doing the things that make you happy. Through that, there's a tremendous amount of spiritual freedom that's unlocking for you, and that's Uranus transiting Pisces in your 5th. So it may take some releasing in some way. I'm not sure what that is for you individually, but you'll notice that through that, just enjoying life and doing the things that you're passionate about, that invoke creativity and that life force energy, there's a tremendous amount of freedom to be had there when you utilize your energies in that way, when you're focused in that way. So very exciting stuff. Opportunities as well with Uranus. Now, Neptune and Chiron, very slow movers as well, have been transiting your 4th house. And so there's the spiritual element to the home and family area. Perhaps, Neptune can sometimes create a nebulousness and an uncertainty about those areas of your life. Home, family, also your feelings, what's going on the inside, your inner temple, those types of things, your roots. All 4th house. But the key with Neptune is to just connect to those things on the spiritual level, not to try to need to understand it or see where you're going in those areas, and just connect to it. So in other words, maybe connecting to family members where you're not quite sure exactly what the relationship is or how it's unfolding, but you're connecting to it on that open chakra spiritual level with unconditional compassion, and just enjoying it, enjoying the present moments of it. Or if it's home, it could be related to that. I think it's a little bit of everything for you guys. So going with the flow and having that compassion in that area is tremendously helpful with that Neptune transit. Now with Chiron, there's also some healing that's taking place in regards to that. And so whatever that is for you, just know that there's a healing taking place. And a lot of the things you're healing are just old ideas, old feelings that we get kind of gunked on us, that Chiron helps heal us. Some wounds that we get, some insecurities that we get in that area. So just be there for yourself, and I think depending on where Chiron's aspecting your particular personal planets, it's going to vary in the amount of this, but there's going to be healing in that home and family area, so allow that in and be receptive to it. Now Pluto has been transiting your guys' 2nd house for a very long time, and this is about your inner wealth and outer wealth, your sense of self-worth and abundance. Okay, so with Pluto there, it's, especially relating to anything that you value, the abundance that you want in your life, it's very important that you release your attachments to them with Pluto in the 2nd house. There can be no attachments to the things you value. You'll notice that if you start to attach to something that you want, it's creating like a dense energy field, and then it's making it difficult for that abundance to come to you. So the key here is to embrace any fears that you have around wealth, around abundance, around your sense of self-worth. Embrace that. And through that, once you do that, then just let them go, because you'll find all of these feelings, these fears, they just want to go. They just want to be on their way. And all they're there for is for you to embrace. It's an opportunity for you to accept those aspects of yourself and then allow them to go. Then through that, you're opening up channels for you to receive more abundance. So having Pluto in the 2nd house can be very powerful when you're utilizing the Pluto energies in that correct way, which is acceptance and releasing. When you do that, lots of abundance can come to you. And this is, again, inner and outer abundance. All right, so now let's go ahead and look and see where these slow movers are aspecting each other in the chart this year. So this year, for the first 3 months, right before the eclipses leading up to them, actually, we have this Uranus-Pluto square that's been going on for the past 2 to 3 years. Very powerful stuff, and it's been affecting us all personally in particular areas, but it's been helping us transform our lives for the better. And so it's coming up to its final aspect. That aspect's coming up to its final hit in March. So from this point, for the first 3 months of the year, it's important that we utilize this transit in the most efficient way, so that once March is finished, then it becomes integrated, and whatever work we needed to do is then done, and then we can go on our merry way. So for the first 3 months, it's very important that we step into that co-creator element, be the willing participant in change. And a lot of it has to do with these changes that I was talking about in terms of your sense of self-worth, of abundance with Pluto there, and also your 5th house of that freedom that I was talking about in terms of doing what you enjoy. So there's some connection here between these two that needs to be reworked. And it has to do with, those two things. So for example, it could be that, you're finding that maybe your money is, the whole wealth situation is not creating freedom. Maybe sometimes even when we have tremendous amount of wealth, it can kind of imprison us or make us feel bonded to it, in bondage to it. And so that's just one example of how the 2nd house can relate to the 5th. And whatever it is for you personally, it's going to have something to do with releasing those attachments to your sense of self-worth is going to create more freedom. So make whatever changes you need to make in that second house sector. You're going to notice more freedom and more enjoyment and more happiness coming from it. And likewise, the more you enjoy yourself, do the things that you enjoy in life, regardless of what the status quo is in terms of what you enjoy. Doing those things, perhaps it's creativity. You're going to unlock that freedom, and it's going to actually assist you in your sense of self-worth, which is going to unlock perhaps a lot of blockages that you might have around receiving abundance. So just generally what the energies are, but kind of plug it in for your particular situation. And you'll notice that doing that really for the first 3 months of this year is going to unlock those two areas of your life for you. Now, January is a very important month for this. It's about taking action, particularly around, well, both of them actually. Particularly the action part, though, in terms of the finances or the wealth, the abundance sector, okay? So doing whatever needs to be done there. Something needs to change, and I think you know what it is. If not, meditate on it because you have the information, it's there. So whatever that is, do that. And you're going to notice it's very freeing. It's also creating opportunities for you in communities, in technology, anything 11th house related, because that's where the North Node is. See, this whole year, the whole unfoldment for you is in relation to your freedom. You know, with the North Node in the 11th house, it's about you guys following your freedom and being of service to humanity or to others, perhaps through your work, but just in general, you know, and just in everyday life. So whatever that is, whatever changes you need to make, it's involving those two areas. So just be willing to do that, and then you're utilizing January to its fullest. Also, Uranus is going to be conjunct the South Node, which means some releasing again in terms of just enjoying yourself this month. At the same time, while you're perhaps doing these things, enjoy yourself and have a good time. And then through that, there's a natural, like I said, freedom and ability to tap into your true self, particularly for these 3 months and in January. Now, in March, we have those eclipses. We got the final aspect of that Uranus-Pluto square, but we've also got an ongoing transit that's very important, actually, and very, very wonderful. Jupiter's been trining up to Uranus since September of 2014. It's very harmonious. It's about opportunities. It's about excitement. And this energy is going to continue all the way through June of 2015. So for the first half of this year, we're going to continue with this energy, and March is a particular month associated with it. And it has to do with when we are our true selves, it's creating those abundance, those opportunities that I was talking about, especially related to the 9th house activities of your travels, expansion of the minds, those types of things, overall your life path. It's almost like you have an opportunity to go on a sort of adventure, or to treat your life like an adventure for the first half of this year. Just like it's been available for you in 2014, it might be a spiritual adventure, it might be a physical adventure, a real, you know, in physicality, like traveling. Whatever that is, doing that adventurous thing, you're going to notice it's creating freedom for you, and it's allowing you to enjoy yourself more, which goes back to that whole Uranus thing. So tap into that adventurous side, especially for the first half of this year before Jupiter changes signs. With this aspect, there's a tremendous amount of enjoyment and freedom that can come from it. And I think naturally getting more in touch with your passion, your own inner passion and your creativity is going to unlock that adventurous side as well. There's lots of opportunities there. It's opportunities for enjoyment, opportunities for the adventure, and opportunities just in general. And perhaps things coming out of nowhere when you decide, hey, you know what, I think I'm going to go to take a short trip or something like that. And then you see the opportunities that surface from that. That type of thing. Okay, but it's a trine, so it's something we won't necessarily do. We can choose to do it if we do. And if we do, the opportunities will certainly be there. Now, August is another very important month, and it's involving Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is going to be squaring up to Saturn, activating your first house and your 10th house. So this is where there's a lot of these opportunities in regards to your work that I was talking about, and you stepping into that Saturn approach to it. August is going to be a very important month. I think that can be a month when you get a lot done in terms of it, but it's going to take being the willing participant to put in the work to make it happen. Okay, and I think it'll increase, like I said, the opportunities of work, but also your sense of your sense of self, your ability, to achieve your goals, and your confidence and courage, I think, will improve as you start to get the ball moving and start to do those things. That's all year, but particularly in August. Now, September is a very important month. That's when we have the eclipses, but we also have Jupiter opposite Neptune and Saturn sextiling up to the North Node. In terms of this Jupiter opposite Neptune, there's a balancing that needs to take place this year. You're going to notice it, especially from September through November, needing to balance work with home or work with family. Your 10th house and your 4th house are going to be in opposition, so there's a need for balance here. Okay, and this is your typical balance of, making sure you're not working too much and you're neglecting the home or family situation, or you're perhaps working too hard on home and family, but there's opportunities at work that you're not capitalizing on. So balancing those two, it's going to be very important for you this year. Okay. And in terms of the Saturn sextiling up to the North Node, there's lots of opportunities, again, for you to step into that Saturnian disciplined approach and creating opportunities. But where it's really coming for you, and the opportunities in September are going to be giving and being of service through your work, perhaps, but just in general. And you'll notice that when you do that North Node stuff, being of service, being, perhaps humanitarian work, it could be charity work, could be technology stuff where you're helping assist in, the technological advancement of a company, or helping people with that, or your friends or your groups or whatever. There's opportunities there in September for you to move in that direction. So September, very important for you to really focus on those 11th house things. Focus on your freedom as well, and you'll notice it's going to help that Saturn energy really snowball even more. Now in October, we have another trine with Jupiter. He's going to be trining up to Pluto. This is very nice. It's involving your 10th and your 2nd house. This can be opportunities for you to increase that abundance, perhaps through your work. Okay, it could be a month where that happens, because Jupiter in your 10th is going to be trining up to Pluto in your 2nd. So there's opportunities there for you to perhaps increase your abundance. But again, remember, it's not just about physical abundance, it's inner abundance as well. It could be, like I said, for some of you it might be a promotion. This is feeling good about it. Starting to see that, you have this sense of self-worth developing in this particular field or particular line of work. Could be just the shift to your work, whatever it is, the new job, whatever. But there's lots of opportunities there developing in those two areas for you guys. So the wealth, the abundance with the career, and or just big picture stuff that you're working on for the public in October. Now November, we've got more opposition, and that's why I was saying from about September to November, make sure you're balancing home and family, so still very important there. You'll find that very healing. Jupiter's going to be opposite Chiron. Very healing when you do that. Okay. Now also in November, Saturn's going to be squaring up to Neptune, and this is taking the grounded approach to your spirituality, especially spiritual matters relating to home and family around November. Okay, perhaps needing to do some things around the home, or spend some more time with family, these types of things. Your attention is going to be needed there in that department in November. All right, guys, so I'm going to draw a card and see where Spirit would like a little more emphasis for you this month. Okay, Virgo. Well, Virgo is very beautiful energy, and that's where the North Node is. So maybe this is an indication to talk a little bit more about the North Node in Virgo for you guys in particular. North Node's been transiting Virgo, which is about our self-improvement, our refinement, our spiritual, physical, and emotional self-improvement. Okay, so taking care of our health, but also taking care of our minds, taking care of our spirituality, being present, and all these things throughout our day. So maybe this is an indication to continue developing your health. And I think through that, naturally, by improving yourself, that's where the focus is going to assist you in being more of service this year. Because there's this strong emphasis with that North Node and you guys being of service, and also connecting to your work in a way that's not so much about the material side of things. It's the under the surface side of things, like what you really enjoy in your work, connecting to that. You're going to notice through that, through doing those things, it's going to improve your health. But also improving your health is going to help you be more of service and do those 11th house things, whatever they are for you guys individually. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great 2015. Please get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. You can click the link on the following page. I do both recorded and live sessions. All right, guys, have a great year, and I'll see you next time.